It's time. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome back to the Front Office Podcast. I am your host, Pistols. Again, I am joined by Chazz, who is my draft specialist. We just finished the NFL draft. It ended Saturday afternoon, and we're here to talk about it. Of course, Chazz, welcome to the war room. That's what
you said I'm joined again. I don't know if I've actually technically ever been on the show because
you were. It just nobody could hear you last time because that was a settings issue on my part. But we're good now. Welcome to the war room. What do you think? Welcome to the war.
Dude,
the war room fits, right?
I'm ready. The war room. I'm ready. I am everybody's local draft. Let's do it.
The NFL draft just concluded on Saturday, and we got a lot to talk about. Mainly what I want to go over today is how the draft will affect fantasy football in the future. But let's get a little recap going. Obviously, we saw.
Adam, real quick, can I tell you how much I love NFL drafts? Can I explain something to you?
Yeah, absolutely. Let everybody know that you are my draft guru.
Well, not only do I do a lot of research, I watch a lot of tape, watch a lot of college football, but I love the NFL draft so much that during this time, I work out a lot, or whatever, if I'm in a sauna or whatever. I listen to the broadcasts of old drafts hours at a time to hear all the awful takes from Mel Kiper, just to reinvigorate myself, to remind everybody that Mel Kiper is right maybe 50% of the time. He's not the worst thing in the world,
sure,
but he has such awful takes. Awful. A big take I just heard on a recent one is how Joey Harrington is going to be the face of the NFL someday.
Okay.
Not to mention his insanely simping over Shador Sanders, still continuing on Saturday night, a year after Shador was drafted. So sure. I don't know. So, anti Mel Kiper guy here. Who in the hell is Mel Kiper anyway?
That might be a hot take for the channel. Mel Kiper is not, I'm not a huge fan of him either. I think he just likes to talk. For me, it's just Mel Kiper is just one of those guys. Sure, we listen to him because he's on ESPN and he's the draft guy. He does 40 mock drafts, and I don't think he's gotten a single pick right except for the first round pick, maybe Fernando Mendoza going number 1 to the Raiders. But I think everybody who is ever in the history of watching football knew that Fernando Mendoza was going to the Raiders. Speaking of, though, let's recap the draft. Your number 1 overall pick, your Indiana national champion, Fernando Mendoza, goes to the Raiders. How do we feel about that pick? I know you're a Raiders fan, so I know you have a lot of thoughts on this.
Raiders, for everyone at home, is my number 2 team. I'm a Bills fan, of course, number 1, but sure. Raiders have always been number 2 team. I'm talking about mid-90s. Just seeing the way the Raiders fan dressed up, they all look like wrestlers or Kiss or whatever. So I just always like the Raiders, right? From the Jeff Hostetler era. So get at me, fans. Okay. What do I think? The fucking Vegas Raiders just drafted the Heisman Trophy winning, the national championship winning on Indiana. This isn't basketball, mind you, folks. The 6'5", 225-pound, bigger than people realize, more athletic than people realize, a bigger arm than people realize. Everybody just kind of takes this guy for granted. The best thing I can say, this is the best way I can describe Fernando Mendoza. This guy is a touch smaller Tim Tebow who can actually throw the football. He can will you to a win. You saw it in the national championship. He'll run you over on the way to the end zone, and he'll also throw every guy open. I mean, to me, Fernando Mendoza is probably, in the last 10 years, I would honestly say the second best quarterback prospect coming out. I'm more excited. Okay, Trevor Lawrence was the best prospect coming out, but I would put Fernando Mendoza over the likes of Caleb Williams and Joe Burrow for the simple fact that Mendoza did this on his own. Burrow, we know, had all the elite weapons.
Yeah. I mean, with LSU, he had an incredible roster. He had Justin Jefferson and who's the other wide receiver that he had?
Chase?
Yeah, Yes. So Fernando Mendoza coming out of Indiana, first of all, a team that is not really known to ever be in championship contention. He comes out, wins a Heisman, gets drafted first overall. The Raiders have found their franchise quarterback. The way that he played in the national championship, unbelievable. It really was unbelievable. And I really like that for the Raiders. They've struggled for the past few years. I know, everybody thought that, Pete Carroll coming in, he's really going to turn this franchise around. Well, it really wasn't the turnaround that people expected. Okay. And for me, the Raiders they brought in Pete Carroll to kind of set a foundation, right? Now the Raiders did they get Clint Kubiak? I'm right on that, right? They got Clint Kubiak, the Super Bowl winning offensive coordinator from the Seattle Seahawks. Clint Kubiak coming in there is probably the best thing that's ever happened to the Raiders in recent years.
I'll argue the best thing that happened to the Raiders in the last few years was hiring Pete Carroll and trading for Geno Smith, because then you were garbage and you got the first overall draft pick.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to go that route, absolutely. Yeah, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Pete Carroll brought the Raiders to the promised land of Fernando Mendoza.
Sure. Fernando Mendoza is going to be really, really good in this league, and it really couldn't happen to a better situation. Now, I'm really concerned about their wide receiving core, but there's moves to be made.
Well, that's what. Not this year for your dynasty people. I'm in a dynasty league. Mendoza went 5th overall in this dynasty league, and you don't get quarterbacks drafted early, so people are looking out for him. I actually think a lot of these weapons are a bit weaker this year, but we'll get to that. But for Fernando Mendoza for redraft league, he's I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they signed Kirko. Sure. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Mendoza is not fantasy anything this year. Yeah. Honestly, no, I wouldn't be surprised.
And I agree with that. And signing Kirk Cousins, you got to think that they're probably going about it the right way. They're going to start Kirk Cousins. Mendoza is going to sit behind Cousins, who's a very viable quarterback in this league. He's had very good years. He played very well for Washington, and then he goes over to Minnesota. He brings them to the playoffs. He throws the ball to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and those guys over there. Now he comes to Vegas, and Fernando Mendoza probably has the best situation in the NFL right now, is sitting behind Kirk Cousins just to learn the system, to learn the league. Fernando Mendoza is really set up to be one of the better quarterbacks in the league once the Raiders kind of, get their situation settled.
Raiders for the future, next year you're going to have Fernando Mendoza, one of the best quarterback prospects in years, Ashton Genty as your running back, one of the best running back prospects in years, Brock Bowers, the best tight end prospect in years, and you're probably going to be cramping again and have a chance at drafting Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State, one of the best wide receiver prospects in years. So I know that's future, but watch, plus Clint Kubiak, watch out for these Raiders in a couple years. Great building foundation behind that guy.
I agree. Now, speaking of the draft, what's interesting to me is the Jets are going to jet, right? We all have the running joke in the league that the Jets are just the Jets, and they don't really kind of know what's going on in the league. They pass on Arvell Reese, they pass on Sonny Styles, and they go with David Bailey out of Texas Tech. And if it wasn't one of those two guys from Ohio State, I thought that maybe Ruben Bain might have been their guy. But they come back and they go defensive end, outside linebacker type deal, wherever you want to put him. David Bailey, how does that affect the Jets on defense?
Well, I'm not going to lie. This pick actually surprised me because, you saying the Jet was going to jet. I think the Jet, being a Jet, would have been taking one of those guys you said, because like David Bailey is the best pass rusher in this draft, but he's inconsistent, and and that's the problem. But pure explosion and stuff like that, David Bailey is the scariest one. So Jets being Jet with the defensive minded head coach and all that stuff, I thought would have took the safer pick in Arvell Reese, and they did it. They swung for the fences. It's not like David Bailey was gonna be a top 20 pick. He would have been 7 or 8, but like, I'm surprised by this pick, and David Bailey, if he hits, will be better than all those guys you just mentioned. But him hitting rate is a bit tougher.
Sure.
So, as a Bills fan, I hope it's a swing and a miss. But it scares me a little more.
Yeah, of course we hope it's a swing and a miss with being a Bills fan, and we love shitting on the rest of the division. Which kind of brings me to my next point in what kind of threw me off in this draft is Arizona taking Jeremiah Love. Now, don't get me wrong. Jeremiah Love is a fantastic running back out of Notre Dame. Okay, he had a really, really good season. He's one of those guys that he's very explosive. He can catch the ball out of the backfield, blah, 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 all that fun stuff. But having James Conner and having Amari DiMercado and having these running backs that are in Arizona now without really a quarterback, right? They're going to go with Jacoby Brissett as their guy. They get rid of Kyler Murray in the offseason.
Well, they signed Tyler Algier.
They did, and they signed decent Tyler Algier. Sure. And drafting Jeremiah Love, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. It just didn't.
I mean, all I got to say to that, I don't know if you hear these drops, but I'm gonna. Oh, it didn't work. I was doing the all you need is love drop.
Okay.
There it is.
There it is. I hear it. I got you.
It took a second. So like, here's the thing. So like, I get what you're saying. And it's like, yeah, but the running backs you just mentioned, maybe get back to my drops here. James Conner, who cares at this point? Amari DiMercado, who cares at this point? And I'm sorry, I know you were back in the day. Tyler Algier, who cares at this point? It's like Jeremiah Love's different. He's a different. He's a different aspect. So and then you're going to come out and say that like they need a quarterback. Well, they got one in the 3rd round. Who just doesn't have hype. We'll talk about the quarterbacks later. But, like, you can't miss on Jeremiah Love. Usually when a prospect is this touted as a running back, they work out.
Right. Saquon
was super highly touted. Work out.
Yeah.
Work out, And Genty, 1 year, so who knows? But, like, so it's like it's the right pick.
Sure.
Now, there's a certain, like, simping over Notre Dame in America, so like that leads me to knock him down a little bit. I don't think he's as good as say those guys I just mentioned, including Ashton.
1000%. I think if we're talking about running backs that came out of the draft, like you had your Saquon Barkley, obviously stud. Bijan Robinson, stud. Ashton Genty, stud. And I know he was in a bad situation with Vegas last year in his rookie season, but Jeremiah Love, he went to a team that has a lot of needs. They get rid of their franchise quarterback. They let Kyler Murray go to Minnesota, and they're rocking right now with Jacoby Brissett. As you mentioned, they drafted a quarterback in the 3rd round. But Jeremiah Love, like, what does that mean for fantasy? Like, and I'm such a hater of rookies that come out, but Jeremiah Love is a highly doubted like running back that came out of this draft, and to go to a team like Arizona who struggles a lot on offense, and we've seen it. They've only made the playoff since Kyler Murray got drafted. They made the playoff 1 time, I think. And it's just like, it's one of those things. I see Jeremiah Love really kind of making an impact on this team because, yes, they have Marvin Harrison Jr., but their quarterback situation is what worries me the most.
Well, Michael Wilson was a stud last year with Jacoby.
And he was really good, yes.
don't forget they have the best tight end in fantasy football.
True.
So they have a good offense. So I think actually, even though I'm a Raiders fan and I think Genty's better, I think Jeremiah Love is going to be better than Ashton Genty was last year as a rookie. So it's like, so Genty was going in the first round of fantasy drafts. I don't think that should have happened then, and I don't think Jeremiah Love should go in the first round of fantasy drafts now. But like as a late round 2 or early round 3, like I think he's gonna get points, especially if Jacoby Brissett can play 75% of how he was playing last year. You know, he's gonna open that up a bit, and like I mean, I'm gonna take Jeremiah Love over any of their running backs, probably Cleveland's running backs too. Like I mean, he's probably going to be in my rankings around like 17, 18. Sure. I'm going to take him over anyone in Pittsburgh. I'm going to take him over anyone in Carolina. Yeah. So like he's going to be, I think he's going to be more viable than Genty was last year. Not as viable as Bijan. Bijan's been a stud from day one. Saquon's been a stud from day one. So I don't think he's going to be that. Sure. But I mean, I still think he's going to be good. RB2, I do. I think he'll be good, and I think Arizona's offense is going to surprise some people this year.
Yeah, I think so too. And you know, with new head coach coming in from offensive coordinator from the Rams, Jesus Christ, I always forget his name. Holy shit,
Mike LaFleur.
Yeah, thank you. Offensive minded head coach. It's going to be an interesting situation in Arizona. And now, mind you, their division, you have to compete with the Seattle Seahawks. You have to compete with the San Francisco 49ers. And you have to compete with the Rams. So that is a really, really hard division to even think about. So with Jeremiah Love going to Arizona, I definitely think he elevates that team overall, but it's just really hard for me to get on board with rookies, and you know that, you know how I am with my rookies in fantasy football. But the next team that I want to talk about for the draft is the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, they picked at 4. They go with tighten up down here in Nashville. It's literally been the hype. Carnell Tate, Ohio State wide receiver. Now, I will say this. I didn't really know anything about him except that he was an Ohio State wide receiver, and I know that Ohio State produces really good wide receivers. But for the most part, that's a really good pick for them. They have Carnell Tate now. They bring in Wan'Dale Robinson from the Giants with Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll. They still have Calvin Ridley. DK was really good. Io Manor was really good late in the season. I know you probably don't follow the Titans super closely. But trust me, when you live down here in Nashville, it's literally all you talk. You talk about Tennessee Volunteers and you talk about Tennessee Titans. I didn't think too much of the pick until I did a little bit more research about it. I know it's shocking. We did some research on the show, but Carnell Tate is a really good wide receiver, and like I said, Ohio State produces really good wide receivers. So with that being said, the Titans may be a lot better than people are giving them credit for. What are your thoughts on Ohio State wide receivers as a whole?
Okay, so I'm gonna preface this with I'm a Michigan fan, folks.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm also a fantasy football fan. So kind of like what I was saying about just the kind of simping over Notre Dame players.
Sure.
Ohio State receivers, I feel, hear me out, they have good wide receivers, but they push the narrative that they're going to change the NFL. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not change the NFL. Garrett Wilson did not change the NFL. Jackson Smith-Njigba had a great year last year, but it took to his third year for him to do something. So so what I mean by that, I'm not saying these players are bad by any means, but so Ohio State players always get this they're Ohio State, they're the best receivers. Like Garrett Wilson might have won Rookie of the Year that year, but he's not the best receiver from his draft class. So it's just like, so that's what I'm fearing. Tate was not my number one receiver on this board, but you know what? He's a Ohio State wide receiver. He's going to be like above average. He's going to be good. It's not like he's going to miss. You're not going to miss on him. He's going to be good. He's the perfect kind of receiver with young Cam Ward to just like grow and develop with each other. And I think it's the right move. I don't know what to expect from him fantasy football wise, but I'll tell you what, he will be, I believe, Tennessee's best fantasy football receiver. I'm just not expecting like one of those insane Malik Neighbors rookie years. I'm expecting a little more like, maybe he gets to the top 24. Maybe he does. But I'm expecting more of a receiver 3, like a high-end receiver 3.
Sure.
Maybe he's into the bottom-end receiver 2. Because I'm not sold on Cam Ward either. Not saying he's a bust or anything like that. I still need to see this kid develop more. And Ohio State receivers always seem to let you down a little at first.
Sure. At first, you like to say, Ohio State's like, oh, okay, another Ohio State wide receiver has gone into the NFL and where we're going to be at. I didn't like what I saw over from Marvin Harrison Jr. His draft year, but I mean they produce guys like Terry McLaurin and Garrett Wilson, as we mentioned. Those guys are pretty damn good.
Right. They're good. But here's another thing about Tate, and this is something that just hit me when you said Marvin Harrison. Tate was never even the wide receiver 1 on Ohio State.
He wasn't.
Because it was Marvin Harrison. We forgot to mention other guys like Olave, too.
Yeah.
But like it was Olave, Marvin Harrison, and then last year's Jeremiah Smith.
Yep.
So it's like he was never even Ohio State's number 1. So it's just like maybe that has something to do with it too. That could always be a thing. He might have been better being drafted by the Eagles and not going into being a number 1 locked-in wide receiver. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm not saying he is or isn't. I don't know. I can't say for sure either way. But he couldn't even be the number 1 wide receiver on Ohio State behind Marvin Harrison, who hasn't done much in the NFL yet.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to shift over from wide receiver talk here. I'm going to shift over to quarterback talk here. What was your reaction to the Rams taking Ty Simpson? I know there's a video circulating that Sean McVay was not very happy with that pick. To me, the Rams are in win now, right? They don't know how much longer they have Matt Stafford for. Now, in that sense, okay, I understand that Matt Stafford's your guy. However many years you have left with him, and there's nobody better to learn from than Matt Stafford, right? But Ty Simpson being drafted the 13th pick is tough for me because and we know that this draft was not very quarterback heavy. Your best quarterbacks were Fernando Mendoza. I would argue Ty Simpson was probably number 2 for sure, and then Carson Beck. Those are your 3 quarterbacks. That's it, right? So, what was your reaction to the Rams finally having a first round pick? Mind you, they haven't had a first round pick in how many years, and they go with Ty Simpson.
My reaction was like, I get it.
Yeah,
they're usually late picking. If not, the only reason they had this pick was because of a trade they made last year with Atlanta. I get it, but like, I don't believe in Ty Simpson. Just like I was saying about Carnell Tate. Ty Simpson couldn't even beat out Jalen Milroe to start. Jalen Milroe was drafted in the 4th round last year. So it's like Ty Simpson didn't start till his senior year and put up above average numbers at Alabama. They won like 11 games and act like that's a victory. That's Alabama.
Right.
To quote Kid Rock, Ala effing Bama, bro. So it's like Ty Simpson is a hype machine. Are you familiar with any of these? Are you familiar with any of these like conspiracies around Ty Simpson's value? Have you heard any of these?
There's 2 major. Any of them. Enlighten everybody out there.
So the first one that came to light more recently is the GM of the Rams, Les Snead. His best friend is Ty Simpson's father.
No kidding.
There's that. Okay, fine. Fair enough. But here's the second one. All of a sudden, in the last 2 or 3 weeks, Dan Orlovsky on ESPN has been forcing Ty Simpson's name in the media, down people's throat, all this stuff. So much so, like, a lot of these other, like, things I read and news analysts are like, what is going on with Ty Simpson all of a sudden? Like, we're viewing him as, like, a third-round pick, and now, like, everyone at ESPN is talking him like in the first-round pick. And then guess what? Ty Simpson signs with an agent. Guess who Ty Simpson's agent is? The same agent that represents those guys on ESPN. Sure. So all of a sudden, the agent is telling the guys on ESPN to push his guys so they all get a bigger payday. Get out of here.
Yeah.
Ty Simpson is pointless for fantasy football for at least 3 years. Sure. At least 3 years. Maybe he could turn into Jordan Love. Fine. If he turns into Jordan Love, great. He's got an awesome player to learn from, an awesome head coach to go to, but I just don't think he's good. Ty Simpson was my QB4. He was my QB4. My number 1 was Mendoza by a long shot. My number 2 went to the Steelers, Drew Alar from Penn State, and then it was Carson Beck. Carson Beck wins in college football. Carson Beck brought Georgia to not the championship, but Georgia was dominant, and then brings Miami to the championship in his first year.
Right.
And Drew Alar reminds me of a Josh Allen, a young Josh Allen that you need to bring in. And then all of a sudden they're trying to say Ty Simpson's like Josh Allen. Get out of here. Ty Simpson's, I don't want to say trash, but I don't expect anything from him in the NFL or fantasy football in the next 2-3 years.
That's fair. No, that's absolutely fair. I know the big talk is that, like I said, the video that, you know, Sean McVay was not happy with that pick.
What?
I don't think that he's Matt Stafford's the worst guy to learn from, but with the draft going on, it's just like the Rams to me are in win now. Okay, they don't know how long they have Matt Stafford for. They still have Puka Nacua. They still have Devontae Adams. They have really good running backs in Kyren Williams and Blake Corum, who Blake Corum really stepped up behind Kyren Williams and eventually will probably take the leading role.
He's going to be their number 1 by the end of the.
I agree.
This year,
I definitely think he's going to be their number 1.
Who said that?
Yeah.
What? What was that?
But to me, it's just like, why at 13 did you take a quarterback in Ty Simpson? What? So Ty Simpson obviously was the second quarterback taken in the first round after Mendoza, of course. When was the next quarterback taken after Ty Simpson?
Pick 1 of the 3rd round,
right?
Which was Carson Beck,
right? So pick
Wild.
1 of the 3rd round is another quarterback. Do you? I don't know if the Rams thought that like Ty Simpson was just gonna not be available later in the draft to them. It was a very, very weird move to me. I am by all means not an Alabama fan. And to me, not Carson Beck, Ty Simpson did not win games for Alabama.
He did not.
He didn't. He really did not. It was the entire team around him. It was their defense was really good. Their wide receivers are really good. Their running back was really good. Ty Simpson he was not a game changer in any game last season, and like for the Rams to take him so early, and it was just such a weird move for the Rams. Who now, and like I said, they haven't had a first round pick in how long? Because they've always traded it away or whatever. And then for them to come out and take Ty Simpson it was just I'm blown away by the pick, to be honest.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah, I think they missed out on that. I mean, in my opinion, I don't think Ty Simpson is probably even ready within the next 3-4 years. I don't think they have Matt Stafford for that long for him to be behind him to learn and adapt to the NFL. It was just a wild move. I really just didn't see the value in that pick. I definitely think they missed on that 13th pick.
Yep. Just the hype machine got him. The hype machine got him.
Yeah, I think that's true, and it remains to be seen. But I mean, their starting offenses: Kyron Williams, Matt Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. Ty Simpson fits nowhere in there.
Maybe they should have took Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, there, perhaps.
Possibly.
That would have been nice.
That probably would have been a better pick than Ty Simpson.
Probably.
Maybe even it might have been a reach at 13, but like the Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stovers was really, really good last year. Might have been a better.
They took one later in the second round.
Yeah.
They should have went the other way around. They would have been much better taking Sadiq or Stowers and then taking Beck or ALR in the second round. So they just blew it. Les Snead blew it. He blew it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't want to go through too much of the draft, but the guys that I mentioned before, the Giants get Arvell Reese. The Chiefs traded up from the Browns to get Delaney from LSU. Cornerback.
Who needed
a huge need for them after they let two of their cornerbacks go, to trade with the Rams, and then they let who's their other cornerback? It was McDuffie that was the trade, and then they lost both their starting cornerbacks to the Rams, and then coming in at 7, the Commanders get Sonny Styles. Those two linebackers for Ohio State are impact players.
Yes,
the Giants, absolutely. And with John Harbaugh there now, fantastic pick for them. Yeah. And Sonny Styles for the Commanders. They needed a lot of help on defense, and it's a great pick for them. I don't want to spend too much time on the draft though, because it's the draft. But obviously we know that the draft comes every single year, right? It doesn't change everything when it comes to fantasy football, but what it does is, in my opinion, is it really reveals a lot of things. It clarifies the roles and the opportunities, and that's what I preach on the channel is where's the opportunity, where's the role. So with the draft that obviously just ended, landing spot versus role when it comes to fantasy football, Chazz, how much does the landing spot matter? In my opinion, it's if it creates a role and it creates an opportunity, it's everything, right?
It's the biggest.
It's the biggest. It's the biggest factor when it comes to and I'm going to mention this so many times during this episode. I am a hater of rookies. Year one.
I always say you're a rookie racist.
Yeah, I am a rookie racist when it comes to that. But landing spot matters only if it creates a role, though. If it creates a role, then it's a little bit different. Like I said, we saw Marvin Harrison Jr. Get drafted to the Cardinals. He was really their best wide receiver. Now, it didn't play out that way during the season because Michael Wilson really stepped up, especially when Jacoby Brissett took over. But for the most part, like even being on a good team, whether you're drafted there or not, that doesn't guarantee fantasy production. Is that fair to say?
Yes, because like if you look at somebody we talked about earlier, Bijan Robinson, fantastic, rookie, highly touted, coming in the NFL. The dumb head coaches are putting in Tyler Algier, stupid, just ruined it for him. Right. Now, if you look at people drafted this year. I already told you what I felt about Carnell Tate going there. So he was the first receiver drafted.
Right.
He is not going to be the number one rookie receiver, because then you had Jordan Tyson go to New Orleans, who's a guy that has huge potential, kind of injured, but that's a good system to be in.
Sure.
And then you got Makai Lemon going to Philly, a great system for him to go to, because they're going to ship off AJ Brown. But like, now here's the thing: the one that every Bills fans wanted, and that's idiotic that they wanted this guy, was KC Concepcion. And the reason I think they're idiotic for wanting him, because he is Khalil Shakir. We already have Khalil Shakir. Why do we want KC Concepcion? Well, he goes to Cleveland. And then my number one receiver in the draft was Denzel Boston, who also went to Cleveland. So these guys' careers are over.
All right. I completely agree with you there. And Denzel Boston was the guy that I wanted to draft. I would have loved him on the Bills. I know that, it's one of those things where we have DJ Moore, yes, we have Khalil Shakir, yes, we have Keon Coleman, but like that wide receiver, that we needed one more wide receiver to fill that void. And I'm not saying that Bell is going to be a bad pick, because I think he was a really good pick for them, but for the most part, like, that's what fantasy football is all about, right? It's about, where is the opportunity, where is the role, where was it created? And now a team like the Browns, sure, we shit on them because they're the Browns, but there's so much opportunity there that you might consider drafting one of those wide receivers. Just
they're worth drafting. Sure, for sure.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings up my next point is, that's where the opportunity shifts, right? When the opportunity is there, it shifts the dynamic of the league as a whole. A team like the Browns, who they're relying on Jerry Jeudy a lot. There's a QB competition there between Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel.
Say Jerry Judy's name right.
Big booty Jerry Jeudy. Sorry, my bad. That's on me. Hand up on that one. But like, when the draft comes around, and it's really, teams are filling voids. Teams draft based on needs. A team like the Browns, they need a lot of things, but their offense is, and we say it a lot in fantasy football, that bad teams create fantasy opportunities, because
you throw a lot.
When you have a quarterback that's gonna throw 30, 40, 45 times a game, points are gonna come.
And the Browns have an offensive-minded head coach. I mean, they went out, they got the guy from Baltimore. So it's like, just to say their career was over was a bit of a reach, because it's still like, he put stuff together. So it is what it is, Yeah. You mentioned him earlier there. I think the Bills drafting Skylar Bell is a move, because he is a guy that's going to take the top off the defense, and he's the guy that can line anywhere in the field. So, like, his pick, I know we wanted Boston. You and I both wanted Boston, but them taking the pass rusher and then coming back and getting Bell is a winning move, in my opinion, than taking Boston and a worse pass rusher later. I think there's a chance that Bell has a better fantasy season than Boston, at least this year.
Sure.
So,
I can absolutely see that. I really like that for the Bills, but like I said, that's what it all comes down to is when you look at the draft, right? The draft happens, and on the channel here at Pistols Live HQ and talking fantasy football, we look to see where the opportunity is. If there's no opportunity, then what's the point of even talking about some of the players that get drafted? But you have to look at the opportunity shifts, but what actually matters is the usage percentage and the volume potential on said team, right? A team like the Browns, who have drafted I don't know, poorly in the past. They don't draft very well. You go there. You know, it's a running joke that your career goes to die in Cleveland. But regardless of all of that, the opportunity there is through the roof because they don't really have anybody. You know, again, a team like the Raiders as well. You know, yes, I know they drafted their franchise quarterback is going to be there for many years, and he's going to be very good, and Fernando Mendoza. But who's he throwing to right now? I mean, you might know. You might know because you're a Raiders fan, but Brock Bowers is their only guy. Who are their wide receivers? Trey Tucker
and Jalen Nair.
Right. Yeah. So right. So you know what it all comes down to is creating that environment that okay, we have a team here. Yes, they're not very good, but the opportunities are there. A team like the Jets too. They have Garrett Wilson, and that's their only wide receiver. But now they went back to Geno Smith, where he was drafted, and is now going to
take it easy. They took Omar Cooper Jr. in the first round. I liked him too. That's a professional receiver.
Sure.
So that's
the opportunity is there. And that's really what matters when it comes to fantasy football. I will always be a hater against rookies year one, but it comes down to, you know, what the offensive scheme is going to be. And my next point is you know, avoiding the hype traps. Hype always wins a lot of the time. A lot of people, oh, look at the kitty. Who's that?
We got Pantera on the camera.
Pantera? Oh, look at Pantera.
Yeah,
there we go. Where's Pickles?
She's hiding in the bedroom. She doesn't like Pantera.
Oh, that's fair. Anyway, as I was saying though, is avoiding those hype traps, right? So you get a guy, and for me, a hype trap this season is Jeremiah Love in Arizona. That's the biggest hype trap. As far as the draft goes, yes, they drafted a very good running back, but for their offensive scheme, with, you know, we don't know what Mike LaFleur is thinking because he's a first-time head coach on a new team, and he's coming from a team that is more pass-heavy than anything. So having a guy like Jeremiah Love on your roster, I would be okay with like a third round pick for Jeremiah Love, just because.
I think you got to dig a little deeper than what you're saying though in fantasy football, because if you look deeper into where LaFleur comes from, you look at Sean McVay's system, and then you look at, even, I know it's weird, but you look at his brother, you know, in Green Bay. They use one running back.
True.
Josh Jacobs is a horse in Green Bay.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, Kyron Williams and Todd Gurley were horses in LA. So it's like, if he comes from those philosophies, you could have a stud on your hands. But given what you say, it is his rookie year. So it's like, maybe he won't be a horse this year, you know. So, right. But for offensive coordinator to come in, get a head coaching job, and this is your first pick, planting your flag on that guy, top 3, like that's saying a lot. So I can't guarantee he's gonna have that production, but he's set up for it.
Oh, for sure. You know, and that's exactly what it is you're right. It's one of those things where he's set up for greatness. Okay, maybe it's this year, maybe it's next year, maybe it's years to come. But that's to me why I just can't get behind the hype of a rookie. Whether it be a wide receiver, running back, is what it is, you know, especially because obviously the worst teams in the league draft at the top of the draft, and you don't really know how it's going to pan out for them until you kind of get into the season. But a guy like Jeremiah Love, like, I mean, he's absolutely worthy of a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick if you're looking to just fill some depth at that position. But it's just
Your third round pick's not no depth, Adam. third round pick
no,
is.
you're right. Third round pick is not depth, but I'm speaking in terms of like, okay, you probably already drafted your wide receiver 1, running back 1, 2, however you build your roster. Late third round, early fourth round is now you're getting into flex territory. If you're like me, I like to go running back, wide receiver in the first 3 rounds. I'm not opposed of going running back, wide receiver type of deal, but Jeremiah Love is one of those guys where yes, he's highly touted, and he's a guy that will probably make an immediate impact, especially.
Where do you Jeremiah Love put on the top of your head? Where do you have him overall as running back? You know what I mean? Just off the top of your head, and then we'll figure out where yours is. So like run through
in terms of
where
like as
in a PPR
in a league as a whole.
Yeah.
Top
yeah,
10.
like where do you in fantasy football draft rankings right now? Where would you put Jeremiah Love just off the top of your head?
Top 15.
Top 15. Okay, so I just pulled up. I pulled up Fantasy Pros rankings right now, and they have Jeremiah Love at 14. Okay, and here's the 3. He's in tier 3. Here's who's ahead of him. Here's who's behind him. Tell me what you think. Ahead of him, Kenneth Walker.
Sure.
Yes. Josh Jacobs.
Yes.
Derrick Henry. Yes. And then we have Jeremiah Love. Okay, underneath Jeremiah Love, Breece Hall. I'm liking Love better.
Sure.
Travis Eaton, iffy, and Javonte Williams. Yes, I like Jeremiah.
Yeah, I know. I like him more than those guys. And the only reason why I like him more than ETN is because they still have Alvin Kamara.
Fair. And then he's still above Kyron. What do you think about that? They have Kyron at 18.
See, I'm a big Kyron Williams fan, and you know
that. And I don't think he's better than Bucky.
I don't think he's better than Bucky. No,
they have him above Cam.
Crazy.
They have him above Scatterbo. They have him above Henderson. They have him above Junkins. So
well, the only reason why they have him above Scatterbo and Judkins is because they got hurt midseason and they didn't really play. So they base it off the stats, right? So
he's better than those guys, first of all, but. Like opportunities and all that stuff.
Sure.
You cannot compare Jeremiah Love to Cam Scatterbo. I'm a Cam Scatterbo guy.
Yeah.
Jeremiah's better, but Scatterbo has already shown that he can carry an offense.
Sure.
But it's 100%. New offense.
Right.
In New York, so.
Right, and it's already been said that John Harbaugh wants to be a rushing team. He wants to. He talked about adding another running back to the roster, and
they did.
And Scatterbo is coming off the injury too, so that's gonna be another factor into that. But I mean, I think top 15 for Jeremiah Love is fair. I mean, it's one of those things where he could really show a lot of potential year 1 because James Conner's pretty old. I don't think they're really sold on DeMercado and who's the other guy? Jesus.
Well, they just gave Algier a decent deal.
Yeah, they just gave Algier a deal.
And they know how Algier loves to go in and ruin the rookie seasons of great running backs.
True. Yeah.
That's his thing.
That is true. So the things that I like to ask when you kind of apply everything to fantasy football, what role did this player step into? What changed his offense? Where's the volume coming from? And blah, 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 and all that fun stuff. A guy like Jeremiah Love, the volume is going to be there. Carnell Tate, the volume is going to be there because, he's the 4th overall pick in Tennessee. Maybe obviously they're not the greatest team in the league. That's why they picked 4th. But they have Cam Ward. I think there's potential in Cam Ward. They have Robert Saleh and Brian Dable, and I really, really like Brian Daboll, of course. I'm not just saying that as a biased Bills fan, but he's a very, very good offensive-minded head. He's not head coach, but offensive coordinator. Right. But I think he could really unlock the potential of Cam Ward. So Carnell Tate being there is the opportunity is going to present itself. Jeremiah Love, the opportunity is going to present itself. Some of these other guys, just like, one of those things is just like, yes, I will shit on every rookie that gets drafted to a new team, but at the same time, it's not every situation is the worst. I really like the fact that the Carolina Panthers drafted Chris Brazzell, and I'm not just saying that because I've adopted the Tennessee Volunteers as my college team because I live here now. But Chris Brazzell is a really, really good wide receiver, and to pair him with McMillan is going to work wonders for them. So the opportunity there is awesome, even though he's probably going to be their wide receiver 3 behind McMillan and Coker. But that's what it's all about here is that creating that opportunity, especially in fantasy football. That's what we look for. That is what is going to give you the points when it comes to fantasy. Is not just because and I always go back to this example too, Chaz, and you'll probably agree that you were probably really disappointed with Justin Jefferson's output last year. First round,
I sure would.
First round draft pick. You probably picked them in some of your leagues. I know I did, but he didn't give you first round numbers. He probably gave you third or fourth round numbers. He was still pretty good, yes, but their quarterback situation means everything.
22. I think he finished 22 or something like that. So that's not what you want when you draft him as like receiver 4.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Fourth overall pick in the first round of your fantasy football draft, and then you get, you get a wide receiver 22. It's tough, and same thing with Saquon Barkley. You probably drafted him in the first round, and you got third or fourth round production from him because he went from 2,000 yards to barely 1,000. So that was a pretty big miss on a lot of people, and like I said, I harp on being that channel that kind of gives you that insight on how to think and how to draft, and if you would have thought about, hey, what's the situation here, especially in Minnesota, their quarterback situation was not very good. Maybe you would have considered Justin Jefferson in the second or third round instead of the first round, and you would have been a little bit more happier with the production that he had because he probably had that production as a late second round or third round pick.
I think what you're saying is right, but I think the reason he still went fourth overall or fourth receiver or whatnot, and the reason he's going to again is that we know his talent.
Absolutely.
He's done his done it with bad quarterbacks, and we trust the coaching system around him. Like Jay McCarthy let us down, but Kyler Murray might not let us down because he's had wide receivers be number 1 before.
Absolutely, and that is exactly the point that I was making, is that it's about the quarterback situation, and now they have a better quarterback situation, so that keeps Justin Jefferson probably in your first round. But for the most part, I mean, I was definitely disappointed in his production. Disappointed in Saquon's production and stuff like that. But with that opportunity being there, you kind of look at it and go, okay, I can see Justin Jefferson bouncing back from last season. He finished 22, you said, but he's definitely going to be in the top 10 this year. And a lot of people shit on Kyler Murray too, for being little, and we always made fun of him and on the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. But
what do you mean?
Hey there, little fella.
There it is. I love that drop. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just like, you have to look at the opportunity, and don't get me wrong, a talent like Justin Jefferson, the opportunity is always going to be there. But when you have a quarterback situation like they did last year, the opportunity wasn't there. They could barely get him the ball. They really didn't do much to scheme him open. you just kind of throw it up there and hope that he caught it every once in a while.
They did. It just McCarthy let people down, and it's like, and that hurts for me as a Michigan fan. But also, that was McCarthy's rookie year. He was hurt his rookie year.
Sure.
I'm not out on McCarthy completely.
No,
but
you shouldn't be.
But Tyler's the better choice next year for sure. So that's my take on that.
Yeah. We're right up here on the hour mark there, Chaz. So overall, the NFL draft doesn't tell you who to draft. It just tells you how to think about players, right? And that's, like I said, that's what I preach on the channel, is how to think when it comes to draft day, and trying to make it a little bit easier on people. I know chaos can ensue when you just look at a ranking list and you have a guy that's like, oh, I wanted that guy, but I didn't get him, and now I don't know what to do. To me, fantasy football is a lot more than that, and that's why I started this channel and try to get people to understand, like, hey, there's a lot more to fantasy football than just looking at a top 100 or top 300 or whatever list you decide to print out and bring to your draft. You have to think about things that where the opportunity is, where the role comes into play, and that's kind of where your fantasy football points come into. I know you're a fantasy football champion in a lot of your leagues, and you're in the same amount of leagues that I'm in. I'm a champion in majority of my leagues as well. So I like to think that I know what I'm doing. I know you know what you're doing. But
hey, Adam, the Football Bros Podcast League has been involved for 4 years.
4 years.
There's been 2 champions, and who are those 2 champions?
You?
Me?
I think you won it twice, right?
3, baby.
You won it 3 times.
I won the first year. You won the second
year. You won the last 2 years. Yeah, that's right.
That tells you a lot about us.
Hey, that goes to show you right there is the fantasy football bros, Chazz and I, and we know what we're talking about when it comes to fantasy football. We know what we're doing, and that's a 12-man league too, so it's a lot more difficult than your typical 10-man league or your 8-man league or whatever you're in. But yeah, no, fantasy football, I eat, sleep, and breathe fantasy football, man. I think about it all day long for months and months and months. I love it. I love fantasy football. I know you do too, and I appreciate you.
Never stops.
Yeah. I appreciate you for being here again. You're obviously always welcome on the show. You are my draft guy. You're my guy that knows everything about the drafts. He can tell you who was drafted in 2010 at the 4th overall pick. It's pretty crazy.
Don't. Aaron Curry? That might have been 2009 4th overall.
I'm putting you on the spot. 4th overall pick in the 2010 draft.
Well, first of all was Sam Bradford.
Yeah.
Second overall. Damn it. Who's the team? Give me the team. Let's see if I can nail it.
The 2010 draft. Hold on, let me
yeah, find it. Let's see if I can nail it.
Let me look it up. Let me pull it up here.
If you give me the team, give me the first 4 teams, I might be able to nail it. I could give you the 2011, but like you gave me 10, so that one might be
okay. So
give me the
you were.
Teams. I was definitely right with the Ram.
You were right. It was Sam Bradford, number 1 overall.
Okay.
Number 2.
Next team was
Detroit Lions.
Took Ndamukong Suh.
Sure did. Number 3, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The other tackle, McCoy.
Yep, Gerald McCoy. Yep, good call. Fourth overall went to the Washington Redskins at the time. They're now the Commanders because, politically correct. Whatever. Tackle.
Was that Williams?
That was Trent Williams. I was just going to say the hint was just signed a long-term deal with San Francisco 49ers. Let's keep going. Let's keep going with this. 5th pick, Kansas City Chiefs. Safety.
Eric Berry.
Yep.
Right.
Seattle Seahawks with the 6th pick.
Was this Aaron Curry or was that the year before?
Nope.
It must have been the year before.
Tackle, Oklahoma State.
No, it wasn't Charles Cross then.
No.
I don't know. I'm out.
That was Russell Okung.
Okay, I'll tell you what. Switch to the next year. Watch me knock out this next year. Switch to 11.
2011? Okay, let's go 2011 draft.
Cam Newton.
Hold up. Let me pull it up. 2011
Watch
draft.
Watch this.
Pro football.
Cam Newton.
Here you go. All right, 2011 draft. Carolina Panthers. Yes, you got it right. Cam Newton.
Von Miller.
Yes. Buffalo Bills.
Marcel Doria.
Yep. Cincinnati Bengals.
Fourth is the Bengals.
Fourth is the Bengals.
Oh, AJ Green.
AJ
That's
Green.
right.
Yep. Arizona.
Patrick Peterson.
Yep.
And then is that Julio? No, Julio went a little later.
Nope. You're right. Julio Jones, number 6 to the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay, who's 7?
7th pick was the San Francisco 49ers.
Is this Aldon Smith?
Aldon Smith.
Is that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Tennessee Titans take a quarterback here at number 8.
This is
Jake Locker draft. Yes, sir. Dallas Cowboys at 9.
9. Ooh,
Tackle
this one.
out of USC.
Yeah. So was this Smith?
Yes, sir. Tyron Smith.
Smith.
Number 10, Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, that's Alulu.
No, quarterback.
No. Oh, quarterback. That's Blake.
No.
Not Blake. The blonde guy.
You're right there.
The blonde guy.
Missouri.
Missouri. Yeah, the blonde guy from Missouri, not Blake Bortles, because that was later. I can't remember his name, but the blonde guy in Missouri. Then he ended up being a backup in San Francisco. What the hell was his name? Give me his initials.
Blaine Gabbert.
Blaine. Okay.
Yeah.
Blaine. And that's how Christian Ponder went later as a quarterback in that draft.
Probably. Oh, actually, yeah. At 12 to the Vikings, but who is 11? Houston Texans, 2011 draft, defensive end.
That's Watt. Yeah.
JJ
That's
Watt. I'll be surprised if you get the Detroit Lions pick at 13. Defensive tackle.
They just took Ndamukong Suh the year before, and then they ruined it. Was this
Auburn defensive tackle?
Was this that? No, I think I'm thinking of the Colts, but some guy named Bjorn. But I think that's the Colts.
Nope, that wasn't him.
It's okay. I don't know.
Nick Fairley.
Nick Fairley. He was supposed to be great. That's right.
Supposed to be.
I forgot about
defensive end. St. Louis Rams out of North Carolina at 14.
Ooh, Brockers?
Nope.
No. Don't remember.
RQ.
Oh, Quinn. That's
Robert
right.
Quinn, yes, sir.
That's
Miami
right.
Dolphins center out of Florida.
Mike
Pouncey, yes, sir. Washington Redskins, who are now the Commanders.
Canceled.
Defensive end out of Purdue.
Is this Kerrigan? No, it's too.
You're absolutely right. Ryan Kerrigan. I'd be shocked if you get the Patriots pick here at 17.
Some corner
Tackle
is this Sebastian?
out of Colorado.
Yeah. Soldier.
Nate Soldier, yes sir.
Yeah.
Chargers probably not going to get defensive tackle out of Illinois at 18.
Nope.
Corey Leggett.
Okay, I know him, but no, I wouldn't.
You're going to know this one. New York Giants at 19. Cornerback out of Nebraska.
19. Is that? It's not Apple.
No.
Nebraska. I don't remember.
Prince Amukamara.
Yeah, good one.
Yes, sir. Let's see. New Orleans Saints at 24. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. You should know this one. Saints Joe would know this one.
Yeah, Saints Joe would know. He's yelling at his computer, right?
He's literally flipping you off right now. 24 to the New Orleans Saints, defensive end out of Cal.
This is Cameron Jordan.
Cameron Jordan, yes, sir.
Here's a funny thing. when he got drafted in the first round, Cameron Jordan. In the fourth round, the Green Bay or the Cleveland Browns called him and said, "We're going to draft you." And he said, "Coach, I was drafted by the Miami Dolphins. You're looking for the tight end, Jordan Cameron."
Yes,
Same
insane. We're going to stick with the Saints. They pick again at 28. They take a running back out of Alabama.
Heisman Trophy winner, Mark.
Heisman Trophy winner, Mark Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
New York Jets at 30 take a defensive end out of Temple.
I'm out.
Muhammad Wilkerson.
Wow, he was late. I thought he was earlier than that.
31 Pittsburgh Steelers take a defensive end out of Ohio State. Still on the team.
Hayward?
Cameron Hayward.
He a tackle? Oh, I guess he's not a tackle.
Defensive end. Well, that's what he was listed. He's a tackle now, I think, but I think they listed him as defensive end in that draft. 32 Green Bay Packers tackle Derek Sherrod. Nobody cares.
I'm gonna play one name from the second round. I don't remember the exact. It's not too far later because this should have been the Heisman Trophy winner that year. The Minnesota Vikings select running back Toby Gerhart from Stanford, right? Second round?
In the second round, we're looking at the Minnesota Vikings. Hold on.
Pretty sure they took Toby Gerhart from Stanford.
No.
So maybe he was a third round pick then.
Hold on. Let's see.
The year that Mark Ingram won the Heisman, Mark Ingram was second in the nation in every category behind Toby Gerhart, but Mark Ingram won the Heisman for some reason. Toby Gerhart led the nation in scoring, in yards, and for some reason Mark Ingram.
The Minnesota Vikings did not have a third round pick.
Well, so maybe he might have been the next year then. So next year.
In the second round, the Minnesota Vikings took a tight end out of Notre Dame.
Oh, that's Kyle Rudolph, right?
Kyle Rudolph, yes, sir.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals take quarterback out of TCU.
Cincinnati Bengals, that quarterback out of TCU. That's the Red Rocket.
That is the Red Rocket, Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that's the Red Rocket.
Controversial pick later in his career. The San Francisco 49ers take a quarterback out of Nevada.
Yeah, so that was Colin Kaepernick, and right after that,
Colin Kaepernick.
Right around there, the Buffalo Bills take Aaron Williams, cornerback. Right around that.
The pick before Dalton
was
pick 34. The Buffalo Bills take Aaron Williams, cornerback out of Texas.
And I just want to say that I had to look it up. Toby Gerhart was drafted in the second round in 2010, so that was my bad.
We were on that draft before.
So I'm your draft, as you can see, folks.
You are my draft guy. Chazz, I appreciate you for being here on the Front Office Podcast again. You're welcome anytime, obviously. I'm your host, Pistols. Again, Chazz, if you want to plug your stuff, feel free.
There's nothing much to plug anymore. You can find the Chazzcast on YouTube. Maybe I stream on Twitch once in a while, but I kind of got off of making podcasts and such. But, I'll get bored and come back. So check it out. And if you want to see me and Adam act like we know what we're talking about fantasy football from years ago, look up the Fantasy Football Bros podcast.
Yes, look at the Fantasy Football Bros podcast. We're all over YouTube. I like to think we know what we're talking about. We're the only winners. We're the only winners of the Fantasy Football Bros podcast league. So,
board.
That's always a plus. Chazz, I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. You're welcome anytime. This has been another episode of the Front Office Podcast. Thank you for joining me in the War Room. Catch you guys on the next one.